story time, right? Because this is what it looks like it's going, right? So I'm with one of my boys, right? I don't know, like I would say mid 90s and shit. And I'm like the originators of the parkour system. If it wasn't for my generation or the acts that I brought, you wouldn't have the culture of parkour. This is what we're doing, right? Like, people now, like, they cap, but I don't cap. This is true story. I started parkour, right, by jumping on rooftops and shit like that. Me and my little crew. And that's what we do. We would trespass. I was like a trespasser. I would jump into other people's backyards, jumping over fences, and just shit like that, And then it turned into like, planned out robberies and heists and shit. So I'm going around my block, right? I'm running, I'm just doing the usual, just walking around or something, and I noticed this jewelry store. Now this jewelry store is a small business. By the way, none of this could be used against me because this happened decades ago. Like, it don't even matter. So I look at this place, right, and I'm like, I noticed that a restaurant, is near it, like an abandoned restaurant. So I'm like, I don't know, it's just one thing made me think to the other. I started thinking about how to get into the jewelry store, but through the restaurant that was abandoned. So I start casing the place out. And I figure out a plan to get in there. And so I start telling my boys, like, yo, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in here. We're going to plan this. We're going to dress them black like ninjas. Because we even had gloves and everything. Ski masks, the whole nine. Everything was black. We planned out a time. It was going to be in the nighttime. So, where nobody could see us and shit. And we was going to do it the same day. that could be verified. And so, anyway, we go, right? The night happens, where we make a hole to get to the other side. We didn't think we was gonna penetrate so soon. We was thinking like, in 2 days we're gonna have the hole complete. But the hole happened immediately. So it was like, damn, if we don't get it now, they're gonna notice the hole that we made the next day, and we're gonna lose our opportunity. So we had to rush the whole process and do it that same day. And we jumped into that shit, and we had like pillowcases and shit for filling in all the jewelry and shit. And I'm talking about, at that time, this must have been like maybe 60 grand worth or something of gold and stuff like that. Yeah, so we're on the last shelf and shit, and then the alarm starts sounding. And for some reason that alarm sound made me think like the cops were outside already. So all we was doing was like, yo, we gotta get out, it was just me and this, I forget his name, to tell you the truth. But it was me and this, I think he was Puerto Rican. He was like new to the town, And we just ended up becoming friends because I think we would fight each other, like we would test each other, and then he tested me, and then I ended up fighting him back, and then like we just became friends. He wanted to, like, I don't know. We ended up trying to like do other shit that was like ego driven, I guess. You know what I mean? So that's what led me to do the heist and shit, I guess. I started planning and shit. And but yeah, I haven't seen him since. I don't even remember his name. I think it was Danny or some shit. But yeah, so the alarm starts sounding, and I'm like, damn, we gotta get out. And then it was hard to get out because it was like a wedge. So we had to pry that wedge to slither out and then climb over the hole that we made on the ceiling to jump to the other side where the restaurant was at, abandoned. And then from the restaurant, make our way out to the backyard where we could like disappear into the other people's houses and shit, you know. But that shit that shit happened so fast, right? That in the process of getting out, I had to drop the bag because like it wasn't enough to like I don't know. I dropped the bag to try to escape because I didn't think we was gonna get out. You know, the cops was there. Anyway, we ended up getting out, and we're like hidden in some like behind some stairs, you know, far away. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute, that's just the alarm. Like, there's no cops, you know. And we're like sitting there waiting, like, yo, what the fuck we do? Yo, we should go back. So then we we end up going back, right, to try to get the bag because there was no cops. It was just an alarm. And as soon as we climbing up to the top to the restaurant, right, boom, to get to the back to the jewelry store, you hear a voice like, "Hey, stop, freeze," or some shit like that. But at that point, man, we just ran. We didn't stay. We didn't stay still, and we didn't know where it was coming from. You know what I mean? Like it was so dark. It was in the restaurant, and who knows if he was pointing a gun at us? I don't know. But we just dipped. You know what I mean? And we got out. You know, from that point, you know, we ain't go back. You know what I mean? But that's just one of those stories. You know what I mean? No cap, because I see that people are doing this now. Like it's in style. Next time I'll probably tell you the time I cracked somebody's skull with a pipe that I had. It was at a concert. I think it was like the Puerto Rican or Dominican parade, and I was with my cousin Horsey. You know, shout outs. I'm talking about warlords and drug kingpins and shit. You know, not your average cats. And this is way before, you started chilling around people with chains and guns and shit, and flashy things. I was holding Glocks and 45s and selling revolvers, 357s behind my trunk. But yeah, I'll tell that another time, since, that's what people are doing in podcasts now. So I'll be revealing some of those stories maybe on another time. If I decide to. Alright, thanks for tuning in. That's that with all of that.